Hello.
Hello, everybody.
My name is Michael Kiddoo. This is Austin
And
Kepke.
I'm Austin Kepke, and that's Michael Kiddoo.
And this is Michael Kiddoo
Podcast. That was
a good.
a good one. All right. So, Michael, how about we start off by saying what are our talking points tonight?
No clue.
Let's do video games, grocery stores, and cats.
Those are the first three. We'll probably talk.
You know what? Let's do video games last, because I feel like we need people to either, to get through the crap to get to the goodness.
You heard it here first. Our videos are crap at first.
Okay.
Ends in a good note.
First off, cats.
I love them.
What do you like about them?
Everything.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about a cat?
That's a good question. My favorite part about a cat would be shoot, that's a hard question. Probably how they meow and how they like. I like how they act. I like how they act. How you give them a string and they're like,
ow, ow. Yeah, but yeah, cats are really like that.
What about you? What was your favorite part?
My favorite part about a cat is the little sounds they make. Not just meowing, but like. And then when they see like a bird, they're like. It's really cool. I like cats. You got a cat?
Yeah.
Name?
Pixel.
Breed?
I don't know.
House cat. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a cat named.
She's a kitten still.
Roxanne, or Roxy for short.
Roxy.
She has She has two thumbs.
Yeah, she has thumbs.
She's polydactyl.
I'm polyrhythmic.
It's
really.
kind of weird, and it really hurts when she grabs you because she really just
digs into you.
Just grabs you, man. Like All right.
Pixel in the middle of the night. She has her little bell on now because of her collar, and so she gets up on my chest and she's just like. You didn't see that, but she just stands on top of me. Nice
visual comedy.
She stands on top of me and then shakes the bell around and then just starts kneading my chest and my shoulders. Yeah.
We got a dog. Maybe you can hear it in the back. It's a puppy.
Yeah, you can hear it.
It barks a lot. And
now on the topic of
no, still on cats. And now, whenever Roxy comes in, she'll go like, and the dog will just be like, huh? What'd you say? What'd you say? Oh, I have to be like right here close to your face to hear you. Sorry. What did you say? That's what our puppy does. And so whenever I see her doing that, I'm like, no, stop.
You push her,
stop.
Knock her off out of a chair.
Yeah, and then Roxy kind of gets really pissy, really angry.
What was I gonna say? Oh, my cat likes to play with her ball, her ringing bell balls. So I'll pick it up and throw it, and she'll just attack it.
Yeah, that's what Roxy has too.
Yeah, and I have a bouncy ball, a bunch of them in my room for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I bounce one around. She's like, "What the hell is that? What is that? I need it right now." And then she'll go and attack it someplace.
And
then she'll smell it and immediately be like, "Ew."
When you have a cat on you and everything's just gray and they're really warm and they're really just purring, and then all of a sudden just the randomest noise and they're like, I'll be right back. I gotta go stick a cat.
And then they never come back.
Yeah, and then they never come back. You know it too because you hear the noise and you're like, well, that was audible for a cat. Goodbye. I'll see you later. And they're just like, huh? And you're like, no, please.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, no, that's a noise.
There's an intruder.
Intruder. Whoop, whoop.
Son of a pooter.
Okay, Michael. You get a little rowdy tonight, ain't you?
Yeah. Soundproof is the thing that needs to happen in this room.
Yeah, it's very echoey. We
Yeah.
apologize.
You can also hear everything that's on the other side of a fucking wall.
Oh, I'm sorry. This house was built in the 50s, Michael.
My house was built earlier in the 50s.
Look at my... That's the only Ethernet port in this entire house. Look at it.
Shit.
Yeah. It's just a tiny little box of wood.
It's a little tiny itty bitty box of wood that's like on the ground.
Mm-hmm. So,
Grocery stores.
Grocery stores now. Michael, what's your favorite grocery store?
Game World.
That's not a grocery
I know,
store.
it's not a grocery store. Costco.
Really?
Yeah, for groceries.
Why?
Lots of bulk.
What's a bang for your buck, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where we buy our editors. We buy them in bulk.
Yep, buy them in bulk. That's what I said once.
I'm surprised you memorized or you remembered that. There's a lot of things that are referenced in our videos, and you'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, in my head, I'll be like, Austin, I don't remember what he just said.
I like grocery stores. They're nice.
I mean, they get you your groceries.
Well, no, not just because you get like food and sustenance from them, but like you go in there and it's immediately like an atmosphere where you just want to be there.
I love how you say that after you are not working at a grocery store.
Well, this is okay. For all of you who don't know, I was laid off from a grocery store.
No, you weren't laid off. The company
was
got
laid
bought
off.
out, and
No, I was laid off.
no. Oh my gosh, did I tell you about what I got in the mail?
What?
So today in the mail, I got a big card that said, "Don't shop at Yolk's Fresh Market."
No.
Yeah.
I heard a radio advertisement saying
Yeah,
that.
and I was like, "What the heck? Why?" And I
Yolk's.
flipped it over, and they're like, "Yolk's bought out trading company and made it, or over 300 stores from trading company and laid off everybody who had work."
Not 300. It's like
It sounded like it was 100,
Six.
something like that. I don't know. But like they're like, yeah, they laid off all the coworkers or all the associates.
Well,
and
yeah.
didn't give a 100% job back. And I
They-
was like, wow, that's actually what happened to Austin.
they legally laid everyone off.
Yeah, and made you.
But they did give us opportunities to get back, which I didn't take because I was lazy. So I mean, it's partly
there's
laid off.
There's a bunch of people who didn't get their jobs back.
Yeah, even when they went there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard a radio advertisement about that.
Yeah. Jeez.
But yeah,
I live right next to the Yolks. By the
yeah,
way.
poor
It
Yokes.
used to be trading company.
Yeah, poor trading company. Man, trading company was the place.
Yeah, trading company was cool. It's like Yolks is more busy and more like
Well,
too much expensive shit. And
It's
then
like
trading company
trading-
was like it was like an old community, like a family. Like,
Yeah,
there wasn't
that's
many-
exactly
There wasn't
what
as
I
many
was saying.
people there. Like, it
Like-
was just
from working there and being just a bagger,
yeah,
you got into this kind of community of people.
yeah, and like
like-
there'd be the same people shopping there every time.
Yeah.
Yolks is just like, oh, let's get fat asses in here to shop healthy,
Well, what I don't like is like
myself included.
the kind of like job they have. Like you have to do like a week-long training course.
Yeah,
My first day I got there, and they just threw me out there.
really?
Yeah, because it's common sense.
Office Depot, and
You
they gave
just
me the job.
bag.
When they gave me the job at Office Depot, I had to sit behind a computer screen and learn for a week and a half when I worked there.
You learn on the go. It's
I
not
know.
like
No,
you're
it was
gonna
like-
have
it
a
was like-
career. in
It was
this.
like, listen, this is what happens when you're a sales associate. You need to do this. Hi, how can I help you at Office Depot? My name is Michael. How can I help you? And then they'll be like, oh, where's this? And I'll be like, oh, can I interest you in this instead? They stick something in their face and you're like, oh, I could use that, yeah. And then in real life, it's like, hi, welcome to Office Depot. How can I help you? They're like, can you help me find the binders? And I'm like, yeah, it's over here. Can I also offer this? I'm like, what the fuck? No, I just want to find binders.
Hey, heard you like binders? Can I interest you in this HP computer?
It's
that's
literally how that was.
$1,000?
It was like, oh, I heard you like binders. Here, would you like some antivirus software? I still have the lanyards from my
I know.
antivirus, my McAfee antivirus software.
McAfee.
Yeah, and I was like, in my head, like all the associates were like, how's McAfee? Like, I'm thinking about buying it because they're selling it for like $5 when it's originally $100, and I'm like, don't get McAfee. It's awful. Just use Windows Defender. That's
Fun
all you
fact.
need.
John McAfee
Is in
ran
jail
for president.
He did? Oh, he's in jail right
He's
now.
part of. He made his own party too,
Oh my
called
God.
the Technology Party.
The technology party. He's in jail.
Well, he was arrested.
Oh, he was arrested.
after that.
Yeah, even I'm just saying, like, he's in
He even
jail.
had a website. John McAfee for president.
Dumb. And there was another thing where it was like, oh, can I interest you in some ink and paper? You also get a printer if you buy a bunch.
Whoa.
And then it's like, they based who was on the cash register on how many people you got to sign up for the rewards program thingy. So I was like,
oh, so it like gave you incentive to fucking sell.
Yeah. So like, well, it wouldn't be on the floor. It's only people who are at the register who can sign you up.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get there and you only get like one person, not because you're not good at it, but because the people just didn't want it, they won't put you on cashier for like another week and a half. And it makes your hours shit after that. And then you get on there and you have a good day, they put you on register like 6 days after that. You're like, okay, I just want to kill myself. And then at the end of the 6 days, it's like, oh, would you like to sign up? No, I just want to get out of here. Because it's like Sunday night at like, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, they just want to go home, And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then I leave and then they're like, yeah, your register sales are pretty low right now. You can't get the rewards program in time. We need to have it's like, oh, you need to make the quota of 40 every month. And I'm like, I'm not even on the register enough to do that.
The stupid thing about that is the reason you're not getting those sales is because you're not forcing people to buy things.
I know.
Like, it's so stupid. I hate walking into any store because I know someone's gonna walk up to me and be like, "Hi, how are you?
What a coincidence! I'm selling this.
Buy this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I was just looking." I'm like,
I can help you with that. What are you looking for? Something like this?
I'm like, "No, not that."
I'm just here for some chips. Oh, you want a computer?
Oh, chips, huh?
Well,
you might be
chips.
interested in our dips sale. And by dips we mean dilute, organated, or dilute, ignorated produce.
Sales.
See, I have my first job at train company was very different from yours as a sales associate.
I was logistics too. Like I was in the back, like unloading the trucks and then organizing everything.
Oh, really?
All the boxes in one cart. Like it's like aisles from 1 to 3. Put these boxes on there. 4 to 5 or 4 to 6. Put those boxes on there, and then everything tech, just put it on that. Mm-hmm. Literally half the items there were tech. So I'd be like stacking it to the ceiling. I'd be like. Beep, beep. No, I wouldn't be driving it like I could push a U-boat. Like it's one of those like it's like a moving shelf of sorts. There's like a back into it. So I'd be like push it and be like, okay, I'm gonna turn. And like everything falls over. And there's like it's loose items. It's not in a box. So like they just like give you like 16 mice like in their packages, no boxes or anything. So you have to like stack them up perfectly. And if something falls over, everything comes to the ground.
Yeah.
Then you're left looking like a dumbass in the middle of the floor. And then your manager's like, Michael, please come to my office. I'm like, I go to the office, he's like, what are you doing? Delivering your tech? Well, you gotta do it right. Thanks, I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me now. And then like the second time later, they're like, you're not doing that anymore. And I'm like, okay. And then like, literally the next day, like, okay, you're doing that again because I don't want to do it. And I'm like, okay.
So my experience was, you would start off every single day by getting carts out from the lot. Mm. You'd clock in and then you just go right back out and clear the lot. I always had to clear like the big majority when I got there because the people that were working there
didn't give a shit.
Well, they brought in like 4 carts and they're like, alright, that's good.
Yeah.
My manager won't fucking yell at me. But like, I guess my manager, David, he really like thought higher than me of everyone and expected me to do more things than most people.
Yeah.
Because he would be like, "Now I know this person doesn't, but you have to, Austin."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
It was very easy. And then after that, you would come inside and you'd bag groceries. And then after like 15 minutes, you go back out and get cards. Mm-hmm. And then when it really died down, because I always worked till 9.
Yeah.
So when it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock, they'd be like, "Hey, Austin, can you go
put those stuff
face away? The dairy, or would you like to go into the milk freezer and stock milk? Would you like to," or they wouldn't say would you like to, they'd tell me to.
Yeah.
"And would you like to fill the ice?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go do that."
Yeah.
Or fill the bread. I hated filling.
Okay, with facing at Office Depot, my manager she'd just be like, listen, we got about 4 hours until closing time. Go face until I tell you what to do next. And I end up facing for like literally all 4 of those hours until like the last hour. I'm not signed up to be a cashier at all. I'm not even like, it doesn't say cashier. It says sales associate logistics. And they're like, okay, you gotta do your closing register duties, Michael. And I'm like, I'm not on the register. What are you talking about? And they're like, you gotta do it anyway. And I'm like, okay. So I had to go and like get a rag, spray the rag, and wipe off the screens and all the touch pads and the keyboards and the gun and all that. I had to go through and pick up all the trash in the background.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I had to get all the toner and ink, put it in a little thing and put it in the back.
So closing
all the backs away.
Closing for me, because I always stayed till 9, was I had to clean all the trash that the customers use. So not like ones that we use for like throwing boxes and crap away, but just for like
the ones that customers just like drop on the floor for no fucking.
And for some reason, the outside trash, we had trash from every single fast food store in town. Like a Waffle House. Like, there's not a Waffle House in Spokane, but somehow there was Waffle House trash in the bin.
Oh, I haven't seen a Waffle House since I went to Texas.
Oh my god, I saw one in Florida when I went.
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah, that's where I ate in Florida a lot.
And then I would mop all the bathrooms that customers use and the employee bathrooms.
I only cleaned the bathroom once in my time there for some reason. And it was like out of like randomness. They're like, oh, part of closing register duties, even though it has a list of stuff I need to do, like part of closing register duties is you got to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, it doesn't say so on the list. And he's like, yeah, well, that's what you're supposed to do. And in my head, I was like, are you just saying that because you don't want to fucking clean the bathroom? Like, I haven't had to do this 18 times. I've done it before, but I have to do it now. You're here closing with me when I've done this the last 10 times, so why now?
So, yeah. And then over the weekends, I used to work longer breaks, or longer days. So, like, I would have
12 to 10 or 12 to 9.
like 30-minute breaks.
Yeah.
That was nice. I like that. I thought, like, the longer days went by faster.
They went, like, really slow for me.
Really?
The shorter days, like the 4-hour days that I used to have, those are pretty good. The 9-hour days and the 7-hour days, I just wanted to kill myself.
I didn't like.
Although my coworkers were awesome. I loved working with them.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Like, except for the manager. 2 managers.
I had, like, a good relationship with my managers.
I had a good relationship with the opening manager, because she did marching band.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. She actually went to Florida originally, so she did marching band there. And we got into that. And the other manager was Steve. He's a chill guy. He's the one that made me do the bathroom, but he's a chill guy. And he's super, like, upbeat, if that makes sense. Like, he's like, all right, remember, guys, we just need to do this and this and this and have this done. And, like, okay. And so, like, it'd be fun to work with him. And then all my coworkers were, like, they'd make jokes and all that after hours. Like, everybody's leaving, and we're just sitting behind the register, and we're just talking, and it'd just be fun. And then eventually, my manager, Darren, started hiring, like, 13 new people, made all of our hours go to shit. And because we can't have, he was 6 over his limit. 5 over his limit of people that he needed to have, so all our hours being cut down. And so
That's an interesting way to fire people.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of going like, hey,
you're fired.
I'm just gonna like intake so many people that you guys just quit. Exactly. So I don't have to talk to you guys.
Exactly. His problem was he can't say no. Like, if someone comes in and is like, hey, can I have a job? Yeah, you're hired. And like, I remember asking him, hey, can you let me train to be head tech? Because I really want to do tech. I want to sit over there and we'll fix computers and help people with the computers because I'm really good with that. He's like, yeah, we can think about doing that. And then the next day, the next week, he didn't hire me or didn't schedule me. The week after he didn't schedule me. The week after he didn't schedule me. And I found out from my cousins who were still working there at the time, like, yeah, the head tech quit. Like, he just couldn't stand being there anymore. And I was like, wait, Jordan quit? And he's like, yeah, he quit. And I was like, okay, maybe Darren will give me hours. And then come to find out the day after Jordan quit, a new kid walked in. He's like, hey, I'm here for an interview. Like, I'm here to put in a job application. And Darren was like, you're hired, head tech tomorrow. Be here. And he was hired as head tech without any experience, any training, and got hours like that. Even though I was like, Darren, what the fuck?
Well, I had the similar account of getting a job.
Mm-hmm.
I just walked in and filled in an application, and they were like, hey, you seem like a pretty good guy.
That's what happened when I got hired there too. It was like, oh, open interviews, walk-in interviews. So I was like, okay, dressed up all fancy, came in and they interviewed me on the spot. And he's like, okay, we're getting this going. And I was like, sweet. I thought it was cool working there at first. And then eventually the managers were just asses. And I hated working there.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just because I was bored with my job. It was because I hated the community with the managers.
I liked my managers. They were
Yeah, your manager's awesome.
There was Bob, the head honcho.
Yeah.
Who was kind of a.
He looks like an interesting guy. Like he's the bald one, isn't he, with the glasses?
Yeah, he was kind of a. What's it called when someone's kind of. I don't know. He was just very like
awkward.
No, well, yeah, but like authoritative.
Yeah.
Like when he walked around, everyone noticed.
Yeah.
And then there was David, who I liked, and everyone else hated.
Yeah,
Dave,
awesome.
who was just kind of there, and then Martin.
Yeah,
who
Martin's
everyone
also really
loved.
cool.
Martin's awesome. So
he's the guy who'd walk around and be like, hey, what do you like? You gotta do this and this, and then like, are you doing this? And you're like, yeah, that did with the gray hair, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David, I liked him because we developed kind of like a
relationship.
friendship.
Yeah, friendship.
So like he would have his lunch break and I would have my break, and at the same time, we would go into the lunch room and then somehow, some way, we'd get on politics, and we would just talk. I would just listen to him talk about politics, and it was like a learning experience.
Yeah.
You know? And then he really liked diesel cars, so we talked about cars for a little while.
Yeah, yeah. I remember he was like, you gotta do this, and also you turn around and you're like, yes, boss.
Yeah.
Walked away.
The
And
thing I
was
liked
like, I
about
wish I could have done that.
the
with
thing I
my
liked about David
managers.
was you could joke with him, and
Yeah.
he would
go
get it.
with it. Yeah.
So like I would be like, okay, here I go, and he'd just be like, okay.
Okay.
It was so funny.
I wish I had a manager like that. My managers were like, oh my god. So, like, one of the last days I worked there at Office Depot, she was like, okay, like there's like these paperclip thingies, like in a puzzle piece case, and like there's like puzzle piece and square Lego thingies and circles, and like, okay, you gotta restock all these, and whatever's left, or whatever's not left, or whatever's left after you restock them, come find me and I'll tell you what to do with them next. I was like, okay, cool. So I filled up everything that I could, and there's still a shit ton left. So I was like, okay, and I started pushing the cart over to find Debbie, my manager, and she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm coming to find you. She's like, I told you what to do with them. And I said, no, you didn't. You told me to come find me. And she's like, if you would have let me finish talking, I would tell you. And I was like, you walked away. You were done talking. And she's like, just listen to me. And I was like, in my head, I was like, fuck, okay. And then she told me what to do with them, and I did that, and I was like, I was hesitant to even talk to her that day. I was afraid to be like, Debbie, what do I do now? And she's like, I'm the boss, and that stupid shit. And so I was like, okay, what do I do with these? And she's like, yeah, you just gotta do this and this and this and this. I'm like, what the hell happened to you? And she was like, a bunch of us kept asking her questions, like over the radio. We'd be like, hey, can you come up with this? And she'd be like, yeah. And like we'd be like, okay, what the fuck? And then after a while, she's like, can I just get 15 minutes apiece, please? And she was just going in the break room and just chilling there. She wasn't doing anything. It wasn't her break. It was just, she'd just go back and chill. And it'd be like, you gotta come out here and work. You can't just leave. Mm-hmm. You're the only manager here with the keys and all that. So
I think we've talked enough about grocery stores. And first jobs and managers.
Gosh. First cars.
Let's go on, Michael.
Awesome.
To our final product. Topic.
Video games!
Michael?
I feel like we should talk about first cars to begin with. Actually, because that's
first
on the
cars.
First stuff, yeah.
Our first stuff.
Yeah. What would you like? What would you have liked your first car to be?
Well, when I was in the running for a first car, it was either I found this white Land Rover, and I was like, oh my god, Dad, it's in our price range. I want this car. And I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do, Bar. And then that's literally what my dad sounds like.
Yeah.
And then there was a Jaguar XKR.
Why did you get that?
I don't know. Because it was a car and it was rear-wheel drive, I guess.
And you wanted a four-wheel
Yeah.
Jeep.
So, well, and then there was of course, the Toyota 4Runner. because my dad freaking
I remember
loves
you
Toyota
were
4Runners.
telling me about that, and I was like, Austin, don't get a Toyota, please.
And then we saw a Subaru Forester. I was like, I want this car.
I remember you talking to me about that.
And then my dad was like,
you used to call it something else.
What?
You used to call Subaru something else. Oh no, you used to call it the Jeep Cherokee the Jeep Karaoke.
Yeah. I said that for I don't know how many years.
I know.
But and then we looked online and there was this white Jeep Cherokee, and we went out there. It was like Ron's Hardy Vehicles. Like there was a bunch of like 4x4 cars. It was this awesome Ford Bronco.
Oh really?
That was my dream car. Old Ford Bronco.
Is it called Ford Bronco or is it Chevy Bronco?
It was a Ford Bronco. I think it was Chevy Bronco or something else.
Look it up.
But nonetheless, there were 2 Jeep Cherokees there.
Mm-hmm.
One was a straight 6 4x4. Everything was stock, and it was automatic. And then there was a slightly beefier tires, chunkier, different rims, white one with an inline 4 and a manual gearbox. And I heard about the straight 6 engine.
Yeah.
It's been used since like the 1970s, and it's a really humping good engine.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to, like, I really wish I had a manual gearbox.
I guess it is a Ford Bronco.
But like in some situations, I don't.
2020 Ford Bronco is confirmed. Okay.
So I don't know. Would you ever get a manual gearbox car?
I will learn how to drive a manual. I think it'd be cool.
I would get one if I lived in the country.
I'd get a manual. I'd only get a manual car if it was like I was getting it for speed.
I think I should have the option of manual.
Like you can switch it between like automatic and manual, like video games.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool thing to get into.
Yeah. Like my mom's Subaru and her new Audi has that as well.
Yeah. Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
They have this electric manual.
My dad, when he had his '83 Chevy Camaro that I remember racing with him, and he was I was in the back of his car when he did a drag race.
Really?
I was like 3, and he like strapped me in this big ass like car seat to like protect me everything. And I was like, yeah, because it was so loud that like I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
And it was so fast, like my face is like pressing up like the back against it. And I was like, yeah. I got my first taste of it.
My inclusion with cars was Jeeps, like 4x4.
Yeah, mine was Chevys.
We would go out so much and we would just drive around, just open around. Some of us would get stuck, some of us would flip, and then we'd be like a whoop whoop convoy. We'd like all converge on the same point, and we'd just sit around with like a beer and be like, yep, that's stuck, or yep, that's rolled over. And I just remember like my dad had this really cool Jeep. Mm. Like this was his pride and joy. This Jeep.
Yeah, that's what my dad's car was.
And I remember going down. He had this big, huge shop, and he had all these engine parts laying around, and he had these big, like left over from all his mechanicry.
Yeah.
And he would take apart his Jeep and then rebuild it like almost every single weekend. And he would take me to school sometimes, and he would get the steering calibrated while doing that. And I remember the exhaust when we were driving around, it was just like a constant like so like when you talk to her like like the vibration.
Yeah.
And there was a hole in the floor so you could watch the pavement go by under you. But it had side pipe exhausts.
Oh really?
So it was really cool. So that was my first introduction to cars, just the whole mechanics of it and driving around, doping around.
My dad, in that Chevy Camaro, for a college project when he was still in college for mechanic stuff, he spent $4,000 and built the gearbox by himself from scratch. Yeah, and it was really good, like hella good. And he also had a light that would be like when he's racing, it would turn a different color, and that means he has to shift it to a different gear. And so it was like it was really calibrated. He'd win almost every race that he was in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it used to be black. And then have like it looked purple when it wasn't in light, like it was purple flames. But when you put light on it changed different colors and stuff like that. He's so cool.
I've also experienced torque, mainly.
Oh really?
Like my dad's big diesel pickups that he's had. He likes to floor it really hard when he gets on freeways.
So it'd be like.
Yeah, so like you'd get this huge. So it would be like. So there's a turbo diesel.
Yeah.
And you get like all this torque in one go.
Yeah, yeah.
His new truck has 1,000 foot-pounds of torque.
Shit.
It's crazy. I don't understand.
My dad's car has 525 horsepower.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But he's like, I can kick a single turbo's ass with my car, with my supercharger. And then when he's like, but I can't do turbocharged. He's like, I can't do twin turbocharged. Because with the supercharged, because it gives you right away, it doesn't torque it up. He'll beat the turbocharged in a race, but with the twin turbo, he'll beat him off the lot. But in the end, the turbocharged will overpass him, or the twin turbo will overpass him. Unless my dad gets an upgrade to a supercharger, which would beat both of them.
So yeah, talk about your car.
My car is a 1996 Grand Prix.
Oh wait, did I even say what my car?
No.
I got the straight six.
Straight six.
1995 white Jeep Cherokee. Straight six automatic.
Yeah.
And then I hit a deer and I got really angry. But then it was fixed and I got really happy.
Only problem is he hit a deer at like 15 miles an hour and broke everything in his car.
I broke a lot of the facial features, so it just looked awful and terrible and ugly.
Yeah.
So I got really angry because I worshipped that car.
Yeah, I worshipped my car until somebody backed it or drove into it, like rear-ended it when I was in the parking, or when it was in the parking lot. And
That
I was in
happened to
class.
me. But they didn't like.
Oh, they did damage to mine.
But it was more of just like a.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Like
Yeah.
So awesome.
Whenever I remember being in the band hall and someone's like, "Dude, someone hit your car," and I was like, "No, yeah, good joke." And they're like, "No, really, someone hit your car," and I was like, "Okay, stop messing around." They're like, "I'm not kidding you." Like they start yelling, like somebody hit your car, and I was like, well, shit, and I didn't hear that. Like the bell rang for first period. I went to my teacher and I was like, apparently somebody hit my car and didn't tell me about it, so I got to go look at that. And she's like, yeah, go get Deputy Duncan because that's really illegal. And I was like, yeah, I know.
It's really illegal.
This is a hit and run. So.
Do you know why there's so much glass in the U-High parking lot?
So a bunch of people keep doing drifts and crashing their cars. Did you
Really?
hear about the car or the guy last year got pinned between the cars?
But that's seriously what that's from?
Yeah, people are smashing
My
people's cars.
God. Like, I thought it was just people throwing bottles at the ground.
No.
Can we talk about the fucking speed bumps?
I didn't
Well, on the topic. I know, but can we talk about the speed bumps?
Sure.
At our parking lot?
I just go over them. I don't like this. My car doesn't do anything. My suspension's that good.
Like, towards the front, they're okay, but towards the back,
You're
where they
like-
added new ones. Yeah, you're like, what? Oh, okay. And your car kind of lurches forward afterwards.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. Okay.
My car is 1996 Grand Prix. And it's like dark green. We call it the old green beast.
No, greatly.
Because it worked just fine when my dad first got it, and apparently a bolt broke and he didn't know about it yet, and the engine seized in his car. And we spent $4,000 on that car. My great grandma bought it for him before she passed away, so he kind of treasures that car, which is his grandma, I should say. Or didn't necessarily buy it, but gave him the money to get it because we needed one really bad. So it was just sitting in my grandma's yard for 4 years, and then my dad was like, "We can get tax return. We're getting about a little over $1,000 to spend freely, so let's get you some driving lessons and get your car fixed." And I was like, "Okay, cool. How are we gonna do that?" And he's like, "We're gonna get a new engine." And I was like, "Okay, I'll just do that." And he's like, "You're gonna help me play." Yeah. He's like, "You're gonna replace the engine too." I was like, I don't even know the first thing to do to replace an engine. He's like, "Just take it apart and put it back together again the way you found it." I was like, "Dad, no."
That's not. Yeah.
That's not how it works. He was joking, obviously, but he ended up like, the first day I got it, he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna do it," and then I'd do it and hang out in the garage and help him and all that, and then the next day he went in there. I was on my computer talking to you, like playing video games. I think I was playing World of Warcraft with you one day. He went in there, And he ended up just doing it mostly by himself, just fixing the car up. And I remember one day, in the middle of all that, he had me come out and help him. And he just couldn't get this fucking bolt off because it was in a weird angle and it was really tightly on. So we had to like reach our hands up in there and then like get a light and hang it in a different direction. Kind of like even up there, we had to like twist the, just like the, what's it called, the wrench to try and get it wedged in there to try and move it. And even then it was like maybe a millimeter space. So we had to go like this to try and like unscrew it and stuff like that. Eventually got it off, obviously, but I remember when my dad got it, finally, he came in, he's like, hey, come here. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I need you to help me. He's like, and I was like, what? He's like, I need you to push the engine and so I can get it locked in. And I was like, locked in? Is it done? He's like, yeah, we just got to get it locked in and plug these wires in and we're good. And we ended up spending like 20 minutes trying to figure out where the wires go because we plugged all of them in and there was like one left. And we're like, where the fuck does this go? We ended up finding it. I don't remember where it was. It was somewhere in part of the battery. It was somewhere around the spark plug, somewhere around there. I don't know where it would be. It wasn't the battery. I think it was just somewhere where the spark plugs were. But he's like, okay, we're gonna get it started. And it was like in the middle of winter too. It was like middle of January, I think. My dad put the key in the ignition and twisted it and the lights came on. And I was like, oh, that means it's working, right? Like the lights are on. Like I was saying it started, but I'm saying like the engine's working, right? He's like, I don't know. And I was like, and he held it back and it was just, and I was like, well, shit. And he's like, okay, it's okay. I was like, okay. And he's like, pulled it back. And he's like, just wait a second. Okay, now. And he was like,
You look so stupid.
and he started, it was like, and like came on and like all the exhaust came up into the fucking garage when it was completely closed. It was just black everywhere. And I was like, I can't see. And I went over and lifted the garage up and it was just like, you come outside and it was just like there's a fire. It was just so black coming out.
Oh my gosh.
I was dying, coughing, and I smelled like exhaust for like the next 2 days. And got it running finally, and I was like, oh my god. And my dad revved it and it sounded really cool. Because at the time my exhaust leak was still pretty huge, so it was like loud as shit. And there was also still that huge exhaust leak, so it smelled like exhaust pretty much all the time you drive it. And yeah, and so he pulled it out and he's like, well, this is your car. And he took a picture of it. He said, finally got the old green beast running and put it on Facebook. And I was like, cool. And then, yeah, I did driving lessons, drove it to my grandma's house, and drove it to Union. My apartment's on Union. You remember those ones? I lived there for like 3 months. And then I got my license, and my dad was like, I'm spending $80 on you for this license. And I was like, yeah, thanks, Dad. And then I actually fixed somebody's computer at his work beforehand, so she gave me $40 from fixing it, which I probably should have gotten paid more because I did a lot of work on that. Like, it took me like 4 months to get it fixed finally.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a laptop. And so my dad was like, well, you got $40, you can put your own tank of gas in there. And I was like, but I wanted to use it. And so he gave me, or I was like, okay, I'll just put 20 on this. And he's like, okay. Put the other 20 in my wallet and spent, I spent like $15 and then kept the 5 left just in case I needed more gas, like an emergency gas thing. And I remember getting in driving home with my dad, and then driving home with my dad in his car. I stood out and I had to go, and I was going to a movie night later that night. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the movie night. And I got in, started the car, and backed up, and in my head I was like, oh my god, I'm driving by myself. What if something bad happens? And like, drove away, and my dad was like, this is so, like, he posted on Facebook, like, it's so heartbreaking and proud and weird to see your kid drive off in his car by himself. And I was like, that must suck. And I was super nervous while driving by myself. I was like, I'm by myself.
It must have been really
something
weird
happens,
for my dad. Because like we went to the dealership in his car, and then we drove it around the block just to make sure it worked and make sure the 4-wheel drive worked. And then there it was. I had the keys in my hand, and I started it, and I just kind of sat there like, this is my car now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I was like, all right, follow me. I was like, okay. So And we got on the freeway too.
Yeah.
So first time driving my car, I went on the freeway, and I was like, oh god! But it was like the first time that I ever went to 60 in my new car. And
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like this car, and it was such a nice like sunny fall day. Like those like days where you're like, oh, it's sunny. I'm gonna go out in like a t-shirt. And you're like, oh, it's cold.
You just need like a jacket. It's sunny.
Deceptively warm.
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
I like those ones. And we filled it up with gas, and I was like, all right, I like this car.
I like this car. I remember pulling up with my speakers. Like my speakers sound like shit when I first got them. Like I'd put on my radio. I'd turn it up to like 25, and it'd be like. But it'd just be like awful, like the. And I'm like, this is awful. And eventually I can like raise the bass and raise the treble and put the mid level in the middle and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like after like over time I had to like break the speakers in, if that makes
Really?
sense. Like because they didn't work for 4 years. So nowadays they sound a lot better. But when I first got them, it sounded like shit.
My speakers are very small. I saw replacement ones.
Sorry,
And they're like the
also
size of my thumb.
speakers
They're
also
so
sound like
small.
shit though.
Yeah, but like I like the impact of the bass because doesn't sound like it just sounds like so it sounds like the speaker is like dying.
It's like
Yeah, like that. And then
your speakers sound
I blew up one of my speakers, so now I only have one.
Well, I remember you first got your cars before you got that new radio in it, and your right speaker was broken.
No, it wasn't actually broken. It was this stupid option on the freaking knob.
I remember going in there and being like adjusting it, and I was like, "Hey, Austin, I got it to work." And you're like, "How did you do that?" And I was like, "It was like the middle, like it was pointed towards the."
You know what? I had no idea what you fucking said, and I just took it off. And it just started working for some reason. So then I got in my car one day, and I turned on the volume, and it stopped working, and I was like, what the hell? So Rochelle was like, well, guess we don't have another speaker. I was like, hold on, I can understand. I'm gonna think about this. So as we were driving to the school, I was like, okay, so what did I do that made it not work? I turned the knob, right? And then I started turning it and just changed the volume. And I was like, what if I push it? Nothing. What if I pull it and it comes out?
Yeah.
Click. Oh! That's how it works. Oh my god. So yeah, that was a really cool experience.
I remember getting in your car and being like, Austin, your speaker's broken again. You're like, yeah, it broke. And I was like, are you sure? And I like tried going in there because we got the new radio, and I was like, okay, so
Yeah.
Like,
I remember
no,
that.
It's not. And I
It's
was
broken. It's actually broken.
I turned it to the left, and I was like, you can't hear anything. I was like, yeah, it's broken. Okay.
It's because we were listening to that Hood Go Crazy song as loud as we could, and then it just stopped working. I really like songs that have a bunch of bass in my car because it just sounds like.
It just sounds like. And the guy's like. You're gonna hear the bass like rumbling and distorting the sound.
Yeah, but like at the same time, that's exactly what you hear from someone with like. You just hear like.
I'm telling you right now.
And then it would be like. That's all you hear from like low-riding cars as they drive by.
I'm telling you right now, I'm getting subs in my car, like something
Really?
like that. Yeah. And if you ride with me, you're dealing with them.
Okay.
My dad has 2 in his car. I'm trying to convince him to give me 1. Yeah. Video games?
Video games?
Yeah. First Tarkok. First.
What'd you say?
So that was a good first Tarkok. I was trying to say Tarkok. I was trying to say first car talk.
We need that. We need that. What you said right there. Replayed maybe 1,000,000 times just so I can hear it. Okay. I'll start with how I got into video games.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad had a PS2. It was a little slim thing, so it was teeny tiny.
Yeah.
And he had it during college, and he kept it, and I found it, and I was like, what's this? And he's like, oh, it's my old video game thing. I was like, oh, can I play it? He's like, yeah. So he had like a Midnight Club.
Redub edition or Los Angeles?
No. It was Need for Speed Underground.
Yeah.
And it was it was like a game where you could customize your car and then race it.
Yeah.
Like you'd have like a Dodge Neon and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would play that a bunch. And then like I would go over to my friends and he'd have video games. He'd like have Tony Hawk's. And then my cousins had a PS2 and they had like GTA San Andreas.
You have no idea how many hours I've sunk into GTA San Andreas.
Well, you know what gave like the kind of childhood like awesomeness to that game was my cousin's mother was very religious. So she wouldn't let us play it. Yeah. But we found ways around that and we would play it by ourselves a bunch. And I remember being like, whoa, this is like the best looking game in the world. And the drive distance was like...
Yeah, it was like 2 feet in front of you. Like someone would appear in front of you.
And you just die. That was a good game.
Yeah, I loved San Andreas. I remember, like, my mom never wanted me to play San Andreas when I was younger. So, like, my dad borrowed it from somebody, and I used to sneak over to my house when they were at work. Because, like, I lived right across the street from my grandma's house, so she'd just, like, watch us. Like, we just walk over and she'd watch us when my parents get home. And I'd be like, Dad, can I go home and play San Andreas? My dad would be the chill one. He'd be like, yeah, you can play Grand Theft Auto when my mom was gone. Like, my first rated M game was Grand Theft Auto 3 when I was 4 years old. But I used to go over there and play San Andreas, and I'd invite like 4 people over because you could do 4-player multiplayer with it. And we'd all just like fly around in floating cars as like the naked girl, like the broad shirt girl, and have like guns waving out the side. And it'd be like we'd drive on water and we'd fly around and crash into the building and fall down. I remember being at one point I went over to my cousin's house who had San Andreas, and his parents didn't give a shit, so I played over there with them too. It was on the PlayStation instead of the Xbox, and he spawned in a jet, and I just got in and floated up, like back in the game where you could float up in the jet and take off instead of having to like cruise off. Yeah, I just floated up in the air, and he jumped off and died, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep going. He's like, no, jump off. So I jumped out and I fell and like nicked the freaking like edge of the the fence, and like rolled over a car and hit the ground, and I was like, my guy was like, and like stood back up, and I was alive, no health lost, and I was like, cool, okay.
So yeah, we played the PS2, and then I got a Game Boy Advance SP. Oh, the clamshell guys, those were awesome. And with it, I got Over the Hedge.
I have
Madagascar.
Dude, I have both of those games on the Game Boy. If you want to play them at some point.
Both of them.
Over the Hedge, I used to play the hell out of.
Oh God, so much. Yes.
Talking about the game where it's like it's top down view and you're supposed to sneak around the house.
And the fucking sound effects are like like that. God. But then I remember walking through Target and I saw Pokemon.
Yeah.
Fire Red. No, it was Leaf Green.
I loved Leaf Green.
And I wanted it so badly, and my parents were like, okay. But the game before that was Pokemon
Sapphire and Ruby, yeah.
I still have dreams of finding that game and playing it.
Sapphire and Ruby? Oh, I didn't know you liked Sapphire that much.
Oh, God. I played that game so much. I would be sitting there in the back of my dad's truck, and he'd be I'd be sitting here like this, and my dad would be on the phone and be like, yeah, he's playing this game. I think he thinks he's, like, in the game. Like that's all his life is. And I would laugh. And I actually lost that Game Boy over the winter. And it was found on my grandfather's dirt road. It survived in the winter in Republic on a dirt road.
Those things were like durable. Like you could throw them across your freaking hometown and let it sit there for months and it would be fine. And I lost my Game Boy. I remember being like, I want a SpongeBob Game Boy. Like I wanted that like more than anything for some reason. Like I already had like 3 Game Boys prior. Like I was just going through this series of games or Game Boys, and I wanted a SpongeBob one really bad. I used to have a blue SP, and I wanted a SpongeBob SP. And I'd like sit and be like, "Dear Santa, please get me a Game Boy SP, the SpongeBob version." I think my parents probably heard that because I ended up getting it that year for Christmas. It'd be like, I remember like getting all the presents out and like opening them all up, and my dad was like, "I don't think there's any left," and I was like, "Oh dang it. And he like reached back, he's like, oh, one left for Mikey. And I opened it up, it was a SpongeBob Game Boy, and I was like,
I've had a similar experience to that.
yeah.
I asked. I don't remember asking my parents for Nintendo DS Lite, but I guess I did.
Oh my god, I was so into the DS. I wanted one
Dude,
so bad.
So I was laying there at night. It was Christmas night, and I was sleeping.
Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
Eve night.
Okay.
And I remember I had a dream of me playing on my Nintendo DS Lite. It was black, and playing Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga because I really wanted that game.
Yeah.
And sure enough, come Christmas morning, I unwrapped the biggest present, and it's a freaking Nintendo DS Lite with Star Wars: The Complete Saga Lego, and I was like, oh my god, yes! I played that game so much.
Oh yeah, I had every character unlocked and had the ghost characters that were like 2 million studs a piece.
I tried to get as many studs so I could unlock General Grievous, and then when I got him, I found out he couldn't do shit.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I was like, okay, I only want to play as General Grievous, and they're like, how about these other 4 characters? I was like, just General Grievous.
Yeah.
And then I figured out, nope, can't do anything.
It just sucks.
Yeah.
Can't even do force.
So that was like meeting my. That was kind of like that thing where like you never should meet your heroes.
Yeah.
I met my hero General Grievous and he failed me.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So after that, I got a Nintendo Wii.
Oh yeah.
That was the Christmas where it first came out and
same.
it was like completely sold out. You couldn't get one anywhere.
Same,
and I just thought, I'm not gonna get one. That's okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I like my Nintendo DS Lite.
Yeah.
And I got one. I was
Yeah.
like, and I remember the concept of freaking standing up while playing a video game and doing this to roll a freaking ball or like doing this to golf. I was like, that is the coolest thing in the world. And I brought it to like my grandma's and my friends and my mom's like
just playing
houses,
everywhere?
and everyone was like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to sit here anymore. You actually have to
Get up and do stuff.
Move.
It
I was
was-
like, I know, it's so cool.
The Wii was an awesome concept when it first came out, and then like after like the first year.
Well,
it
the
like,
Wii was
nobody played
awesome on its own.
it. Yeah.
The only problem was they sold it with all this cool movement tracking stuff, and then they tried to implement that with every single game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like Super Mario World, you have to shake the controller a bunch. And it's just give me a button that does that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's certain games where it works,
And,
there's
like-
certain games where it doesn't.
I like the concept of Zelda where you have to swing the sword and hold
Yeah,
up this
that's
and hold
awesome.
your shield. I
Mhm.
like that. But there's some times where it's just like, can I just like like it
And
wouldn't
then-
swing the right
Yeah,
way.
and then the problem was all the other consoles were like, hey, we can do that. And then PlayStation released that fucking god awful
Yeah,
like
PlayStation
dildo
Yeah.
with a rainbow sphere on it, and they're like, this is a Wii remote, and everyone was like, do you know what you're doing, Sony?
Yeah.
You're known for like, you know,
Games. Handheld controllers.
yeah, you're known for like.
And they released the PlayStation 3 camera too, where you plug it in and you dance around like the Kinect that the Xbox released.
Yeah, and then the Kinect was released, and Microsoft was like, hey everybody, we just did this really cool thing, and it's super good and tracks you. A-okay. And I remember my cousins had it, and it was like the Kinect Animals.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That was an awful game in my opinion.
I thought it was pretty. And then they had like the adventure thing.
Kinect Adventure, yeah.
Yeah,
You had to,
but I
jump
hated
on
that.
and stuff. I thought that was pretty alright.
Because like you had to go like, and then like the glass where it would break and you have to like block them up.
yeah,
That it stopped tracking my hands, so it would glitch. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just trying to do this one simple thing and it's not letting me do it. So I didn't like the Kinect
hands
from day
hit. Oh,
one.
you mean
I
like-
didn't like the Kinect.
So, to tell you a little secret about the Kinect with me, okay? My mom used to work for Microsoft.
Really?
Yeah, she used to take phone calls from Microsoft, and she was also pregnant with Connor at the time. And so, my mom came up to me and she's like, "Okay, listen, we're gonna get a package from Microsoft soon." And I was like, "Okay, what is it?" And she's like, "You can't tell anybody, but I get the Kinect 2 months early before it gets released. You can't tell anybody we have it though, or I can get fired." I was like, okay. And they sent everybody with it the copy of Kinect Adventures. But since my mom was pregnant and couldn't do anything on there, they gave us also Kinect Joyride,
Oh.
which is like you do this and drive cars and stuff. remember getting it and going to class the next day, like playing it that night and being all awesome, psyched up about it because it was 2 months before it was going to be released to the public. Only a few people had it. And so I remember going into class, they're like, somebody was like, yeah, the connector's coming out. And somebody was like, yeah, I'm getting it the day it comes out. Yeah, so cool. And in my head, I want to get up and be like, I already fucking have it. Suck it. But my mom was like, can't tell anybody. And I was like, yeah, I'm getting it the day it comes out too. Yeah, and then like after it was released, I stood up in front of the class, like I stood up from my desk, everybody was talking about it, and I was like, now that it's out, I got it 2 months early. And they're like, cool. And like I don't think they believe me, so I was like, oh, fuck you. But I'm not kidding you, we did get it 2 months early. So, nowadays it's not a weird concept to get things before it's released, but back then it was like,
Before? So then,
that connector got stolen too.
after the Wii,
Mm-hmm. Oh no, that connect's still here, never mind.
I really liked that Wii. Like that Wii was like the thing for me. I played that thing
No, it's not. Never mind.
all the time. I remember we had like my birthday. We had like a sleepover with all of my friends.
Yeah.
Mostly one of my cousins.
Yeah, exactly.
And we came over and we spent all night playing Mario Kart.
That game was the one Wii game I didn't actually own. Like I wanted it really bad, but I never got it.
And then somehow I like closed my eyes for 2 seconds and I fell asleep.
Yeah.
That's how I liked that. That was like the first time I've ever done that.
Yeah. Whenever I first DS story and Wii story, how I got mine. Remember at Christmas Eve, my mom always lets us choose a present from underneath the tree to open one present before we wake up, or before we go to bed. And so I was like, okay, and I felt it. It was really heavy, and I was like, I want to open this one. She's like, no, wait until Christmas to open that. And I was like, but why? And she's like, just because I said so. And she gave me I used to sleep with the light on instead of light off. So like not light on, but I used to sleep with like a night lamp. It would be like a desk lamp or something like that. And my grandpa got me a rotating like SpongeBob light that would show his face on the wall. So I opened that and got that. And the next morning I was like, I'm gonna open that present last. And I looked over and found a cube present. Like you can obviously tell it's a DS game nowadays, but it's like when the DS case. So I was like, I don't know what this is. So I opened it up. And it was New Super Mario Bros. And
I remember that game. That was a good game.
I loved that game. And I looked at it and I was like, I have a DS. I know for a fact I have a DS. And I opened everything up and opened the big present. Austin dropped his phone.
Whoops.
I opened up the big present. Is it broken?
Oh. No, the pink case is coming off.
Gosh. I opened up the DS and I freaked out and I was super happy. And I got New Super Mario Bros. And played the actual hell out of that game. I could probably play every course on that game with my eyes closed because I played it so much. I also got Mario Kart DS like 4 or 5 years later after I got it. Mm-hmm. And I can also do all the Mario Kart DS tracks with my eyes closed, and I can show you it on Mario Kart 7 on the DS tracks if you wanted me to. But and then for the Wii, it was the year after I got the DS because I got the DS in 2005, I think. No, 2006, and the Wii came out in 2007, so I got that in 2007. I remember hearing about it and being like, oh, it's cool. I really want it, but it's not going to happen. And I remember emailing my grandpa in Alaska and being like, can you get me a Wii for Christmas? And I typed in all caps, please, and like a bunch of like question marks and exclamation marks and stuff like that. And then my mom, there wasn't a big ass present there to begin with. Actually, yeah, we got a bunch of stuff that year, but like, there wasn't a present, there wasn't a shit ton of presents like that under the Christmas tree to begin with. When I woke up, I fell asleep, there was like the regular size presents, and I woke up the next morning and there's a bunch of huge ass boxes everywhere. And I opened them up and it was for everybody, and they gave us Rock Band 2 and 3 for the Xbox, and then all the controllers and the drum set and stuff like that. And then, what the heck? And then one for me and Matt to open, and it was a Wii, and I was like, grrr! And that day, when we plugged it in, we played bowling a little bit, and then we went over to my grandma's house to eat and open presents over there too. And I remember coming back over there at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and staying over there by myself in my house playing boxing for like 4 hours.
Boxing.
And getting to over 700 on the boxing. And I remember like my mom coming home and I was sweating buckets, and my mom was like, that's a good thing for you. Like you should be up and playing video games. I'm like, yeah, can't talk, Mom. Yeah.
Good talk, Mom. Think some more of those, okay?
that's my story about that. Getting into video games though, my dad had his NES and his SNES before, and he kept them. And when I was born, at like 2 years old, they gave me a NES controller and I played Mario. Like I've been playing.
Really?
Yeah, people were like, "Oh, kids nowadays will never know what it's like to grow up with the NES," and I'm like, I grew up with the NES. That was my first console.
I have a story to interject real quick.
Okay.
So while I was playing, I brought my Game Boy SP with Mario Kart on it.
Mario Kart for the Game Boy was cool.
That was good.
Actually, I had Crash Nitro Kart for the DS.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't have.
I had that for the PS2.
Oh really? The game's so good.
And
I played Spyro on that.
I remember being there, and one of my uncle is my great uncle. His name is Gary, and he saw me playing Mario Kart, and he was like, "Hey, do you like Mario?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Come over here." So I went over there, and he had a Nintendo 64, and he plugged in Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
So it was my very first time playing
An old
a
console.
retro console.
Yeah.
And I had successfully played the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, and the Wii. So all three of like the big head honchos except the GameCube. That wasn't very creepy.
That was a huge game. That was a huge console actually. The only thing was that they didn't have.
I liked the games.
Yeah, they didn't have like a standalone Mario game and a standalone. They only had 2 Zelda games.
What Nintendo used to do was they would innovate, and then they would make really heckin' good games.
Yeah. Did you know that they were?
Now they're just trying to innovate, and then they're like, okay, games. Hey,
Yeah.
everyone some games.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah. Whenever, did you know the GameCube was actually supposed to have 3D capabilities in it?
Really?
Yeah, and when they introduced it and opened it up at E3, they had a little TV that they were supposed to sell with it if they wanted to. It was a 3D TV that they sold with it. But
And they had a 3D version of Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion. They just kept it turned off because they didn't end up thinking it would work.
It would be too expensive to ship it.
Yeah. And I remember growing up playing the NES, playing Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario 1 and 2. And 3 being my favorite Mario game of all time.
Really?
Still stands to this day.
Did you
Super
play
Mario
2
3.
a lot?
Yeah, I
Did
played.
it confuse you?
Yeah, I didn't know what the heck to do. I didn't play it as often. Like I played it like maybe 3 or 4 times, and that was the first time they introduced picking up turtle shells. I remember trying to pick it up in Mario Bros. 1 and being super pissed because I go to pick up a turtle shell and I die because I couldn't pick them up and it just touch them. And so Super Mario Bros. 2 I didn't play that often, but Super Mario 3, oh man. I can play that like crazy. I like listening to the soundtrack just gives me nostalgic feelings of being 3, sitting at the edge of my bed with a Nintendo controller and a TV like on top of a little desk thing with a NES on the side and a big tote of just random NES games. And the SNES, I didn't end up playing the SNES. Actually, yeah, I played the SNES like twice. I didn't know what it was. Like I was used to the Nintendo, not the Super Nintendo. So I plugged in like 2 games out of it and didn't play it. And I was like, I don't know what these are. So I just turned them off. And the 64, I played that. I don't like it. I like thinking back on it, like thinking on it right now, like just like going through my day. I don't feel like I played the 64 as much as I think as I really have. But thinking back on it, I played the shit out of Super Smash Bros. With my brothers or my cousins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I played the original Smash Bros. A lot. That was my game, man. And then GameCube, I never actually played the GameCube. I didn't play the GameCube until my sophomore year when I traded Matt Scott my Game Boy Micro for the GameCube and started playing that. And then the Wii, I obviously played that. The Wii U, I didn't play until you got it. I never even touched it before. And then the consoles, I had a Game Boy Color. Oh no, I played a Game Boy Color once, but I didn't have it. I got an original Game Boy Advance, like the big fat ones.
Oh, yeah.
My mom got me that. And I hated playing without any light. I wanted to kill myself. But I got Pokemon Sapphire. It was my first Pokemon game ever. And Trico was my very first Pokemon that I ever got.
What did I had Torchic.
Yeah. And I remember playing it, and like I played it so much that the game got boring to me. Like thinking back on it, I just despise Sapphire, but I absolutely fucking love it. Playing it now.
The problem with me in Pokemon games is I have this thing where I'll beat all the gyms.
And then that's it.
And then I'll stop playing.
Yeah, that's.
I
what
don't go
used
into the Elite Four because that's too hard.
Dude, going into the Elite Four was a trip for me. Like it was a week and a half long trip for me. Like I would pack up all my revives, all my antidotes, all my potions, everything. I'd pack up and I'd go in, start the thing, beat the first guy, save it before I went to the second one. Always get stuck on like the second and third and fourth and having to go back and play it like for a week and a half before I beat it because I have to keep restarting it and going in and playing it again. And if I lose, I'm like, God, I'm like bite the Game Boy and shit like that. And
I went up to Lance,
then,
and after I beat Lance, I was like, all right, that's it, right? I won.
yeah, exactly.
And then I'm like, I better have one because, oh God, no, I remember what happened. Okay.
Okay.
After continually losing and losing over and over again,
Yeah.
I had this little level 1 Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if this was for like a gym battle. I think it was for a gym battle with the milk tank.
Yeah.
The milk tank that would kill everyone who Pokemon
That's
one hit.
Golden Crystal, yeah. That's the second gym, yeah.
Yeah, so I would, I had this little level 1, like little Shroomish or whatever.
Yeah.
And he had poison spore on him or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember all of my Pokemon are gone.
Yeah.
I put him out there, poisoned the milk tank. He died, and then the milk tank died. And just, I remember like, oh my God, my last Pokemon died. And then like, pressing A, and I'm almost in tears, and then I just hear, whoop. I'm like, oh. Because I didn't expect the poison to kill it.
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, thank you, God. And then I challenged the Elite Four, and I got up to Lance, and then I died, and I cried.
I remember playing Gold on and having. I cloned Pokemon in that game a lot, and I cloned a Pidgey and had a Pidgey as my party, like 6 Pidgeys, and named them all Birdie.
Tell us more about your psychopathy test, Michael.
I named them all Birdie, like all caps Birdie. And
Birdie.
And every time the one in the front would gain a level, I'd go back and clone him 6 times to get it at the same level. And so I was like, I want to beat the game with a Pidgey. And then it evolved into Pidgeotto. I'd be like, sweet, and get all these Pidgeottos and Pidgeot, and go sweet. And I went through the Elite Four, beating everybody with just Pidgeots. And the last one, it was Dragon type, and Dragon type kicks normal type's ass because it was a flying normal type is what Pidgeot was. And he knew the move Mirror Move. And I died a bunch to Lance, but I remember his Dragonite would always kill me. Everything else would be fine, but his Dragonite would kill me. I remember his Dragonite coming out, and the only thing effective towards another Dragon type is Dragon in that game. And I had no way of getting that, and I only had fucking Pidgeys in my party, okay? Or Pidgeots. And he'd attack me, and I'd use Mirror Move, and it'd use the attack back at him and kill him a bunch. So like, okay, sweet. And I get down, and like I try and use it, and he'd kill my party again. I get up there, slowly, like as I die, I'd like die with less and less health that he had. And eventually he died, and then I was like, cool. And he sent out a Salamence, and I wanted to kill myself, but he just used like Dragon Breath, and it killed him for some reason. And he sent out another Dragonite, like 5 levels higher than the one he had originally. So I was like. And so he attacked me, and I lost like almost all my health. Like I was down to the red, like not like 1, but it was a good chunk of red. I'm like, well, shit. So I used Mirror Move, and it hit it back to him, and it went down like it would go half his health, but it wouldn't be over green; it'd be the yellow. So that means you know that if you use it again, he's gonna die. So he used the same move against me, and it missed. And I used Mirror Move, and it missed because it didn't have the move. And so I was like, whoa, shit. And so I used Mirror Move again, and it used the last move that he used against him for some reason, because I went first, and it used it against him and killed him, and I frickin' finally won. That's my story from Gold.
It's awesome. Good job,
All Pidgeys.
Pidgey, yeah. Birdie. What was I gonna say? Oh, so after I had all that, I didn't really play video games too much. I played my Wii with my friends.
Yeah.
Like the new Wii Mario Bros.
Yeah.
And
This is Mario Bros. Wii.
Brawl. I played the storyline.
Oh. Yeah, I played the hell out of Brawl.
Okay.
I played the hell out of Brawl. And then I remember, what was I gonna say? Oh, I played Metal Gear Solid a lot too on my PlayStation 2 when I was younger. I played Metal Gear Solid 2 when I was like 4 years old. And I'd be like, oh, kill people and put their bodies in stuff and inside the lockers, and that's cool to me. And I couldn't figure out what to do afterwards. I just had fun at the very beginning as Snake. I didn't know you had to play as Raiden later. So I'd play as Snake a bunch, and then I remember being like 12 and being like, Mom, can I play Metal Gear Solid finally? And she's like, can you turn the blood off? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, you can do it. And I never turned the blood off anyway. I just kept it on. So it's just like, on PlayStation 1, it was like, oh! And it'd go away. Like, it was just a splatter of blood, and that was it. It wouldn't stay. And so I played that. And then Metal Gear Solid 2, my mom would hardly let me play that game. Like, Mom, I'm going to play Metal Gear Solid 2. And she's like, okay, you can play it for an hour. And only like maybe an hour a week. And so she worked from home when she worked for Microsoft. She'd just sit in her bedroom and take calls. Mm-hmm. And so she'd go in her bedroom for hours at a time. I'd just go upstairs and play Metal Gear Solid 2 for a bunch of hours, and I beat that. I never played Metal Gear Solid 3 until after I got it for my PlayStation 3 from the Legacy Collection my freshman year. And Metal Gear Solid 4, I played the hell out of that my freshman year as well and finally beat it. Cool. Yeah. It was a good podcast. How was it? Thanks for listening, guys.
That was a good. Hey, thanks if you listened to all 1 hour and 11 minutes to this. I'm gonna leave you with a special treat. Ready? My name is Austin Kepke. I'd like to get so perky.
Okay.
No, the real treat is hearing my voice and Michael's voice. That's
the real treat here. Listen to the sound of us being misogynistic.
Yeah, women are.
Whoa, we're not gonna bring this into that.
Nothing but human beings. God dang it.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you made it to the end, answer this question in the description. What was your favorite Pokemon game if you played it? And if you didn't play it, why?
And why to that as well.
Thank you for watching, guys.
All right, I'll see you guys later. Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to have a little fun time with Austin now.
No, it's not. Can I object to that?
Yeah.
Judge, hey, can I object? I don't want
Fuck off, Judge. It's not happening.
No, but the judge needs to be here to. Oh, ow. That hurt my ear in IRL.
I'm sorry.